A bit sad news, but with a good happy ending. Stan Lee's in the hospital, or at least he was in the past few days, as it was reported on February 1st. I was a little bit hesitant in reporting these kinds of news because it's not exactly great news when a loved one or family member or someone ends up in the hospital. More right after this. Hey everyone, welcome to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. I'm your host Ronnie, and this is an episode about Stan Lee, Stan the Man, the creator and the creative genius behind what is known today as Marvel Comics. So today I want to take the time and talk about the situation that's happening right now with Stan. Stan Lee, as you probably may have known already, he's been in the hospital for the past few days. He just ended up in the hospital. He wasn't really doing well. He's been having health problems in the past couple years now. And just recently he checked into the hospital. He was rushed in. And I have more on that. So we got some information from TMZ and they reported this. Stan is doing well and feeling good. He is staying there for a few days for some checkups as a safety precaution, said the spokesman. So he checked into Cedars-Sinai Hospital on Wednesday night after suffering shortness of breath and an irregular heartbeat. The 95-year-old legend still keeps a busy schedule and was in attendance at the Black Panther world premiere on Monday night. No other update was available, but the creator of many Marvel characters last year also canceled some convention and appearances due to health issues. Stan Lee told KABC that he's already back at home. All I really want to do is tell you that I'm feeling great. I'm glad I spent that evening in the hospital. It did me a lot of good. It probably did my fans a lot of good. It kept me off their backs for the evening, but I'm feeling good now and I can't wait to get in there and tangle with all the competition. It's nice to know that somewhere in the world there are still people who care about what I say or do. And it's nice to know that there's somewhere in the world there are always people who are fans who care about what people do, the people they're interested in. And I think having fans is one of the greatest things. I can never say how grateful I am for it. So yeah, there's the update for Stan Lee. So he's doing fine. The guy is a living legend, literally. He's very strong, and I think we're going to be seeing more of him a lot sooner. The guy is hanging in there really well. With that being said, I just want to take the time and talk about the impact that his creations has made on my life growing up as a kid. When I first found out who and what Spider-Man was, I was maybe about 4 to 5 years old. This was in the early 90s. I was a kid, and you guys might be familiar with a little show called SpiderMan, the 90s animated TV series. I discovered Spider-Man on television one day when I was watching TV at home. And, you know, my first initial thoughts was, God, why does he look like that? Why is he covered all up in red and blue? And where's his mouth? I was that ignorant as a kid. I'm like, I couldn't tell what was going on with the whole costume situation, and I didn't know why Spider-Man looked the way he looked. I thought he looked a little funny and a little weird. But as I got older, you know, I was like, oh, I see. The guy wears a costume. He hides his identity. He doesn't want anybody else to know who he is. And I learned about who Peter Parker was. And growing up, I kind of related to the character of Peter Parker. In all honesty, I was sort of, you know, messed around with and kind of bullied. No physical harm was caused to me, but I was teased, is a better word, more or less. I did defend myself for the most part, but I felt what Peter Parker was going through. The guy was not perfect. He had money problems. He had growth problems, just like I did growing up. And all in all, he was a pretty normal guy with normal problems, and that's what I loved about the character, and that's what most people find more interesting about the character. He was very appealing to the masses. The kid, he started his superhero career as a kid, and during the era in the 60s, most kids were actually sidekicks to adult superheroes, and he changed the game of what it means to be a superhero. And I looked up to the character not because he looks so cool, because he was more relatable than any other superhero that I've ever heard of. This was during the time when I was a kid that I grew up watching Batman and reading comics and watching Spider-Man and, you know, the TV shows, the X-Men, everything, you name it. I was there and I experienced it. And it wasn't until like maybe the late 90s, 2000, that I discovered who Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were. Stan Lee has left a huge impact on my life and has influenced me greatly, and I appreciate everything that he's done. His creations has brought joy to my life and has enriched my life on a grand scale. And it wasn't until the year 2000, where like the first X-Men movies came out, that I started to see my dreams unfold slowly, year after year. This is like during the big superhero boom, and it's still strong today, all thanks to the Marvel Studios films. And when a word broke out that a Spider-Man movie was coming out in 2002, I flipped. I was extremely excited, and the anticipation was killing me for the release date. And I remember walking to that theater, 11 years old, to go see Spider-Man, and it just brought memories. If you've seen the movie, then you know that a lot of aspects from that film was borrowed from various comics and, of course, the animated TV series. And it was a dream come true. My favorite superhero on the big screen. It was amazing. And all in all, I want to say thank you to Stan Lee. I don't think he's ever going to be able to see this video, but I want to say thank you. I've never met the guy, but I hope to meet him someday before his inevitable passing. I mean, as terrible as that sounds, we're all gonna die, guys. It's just the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. We are going to pass away eventually, and I hope to meet Stan Lee one day. The guy is 95 years old, practically a living legend. I sure hope that he's got a lot more left in him. I hope he does last longer, and I hope I get to meet him and tell him thank you for impacting my life and influencing it in a very positive way. And because of his creations, I've been able to enjoy life and be able to appreciate it more. Because his creations and his characters, I've been able to live my life on a day-to-day basis a lot better, knowing that these creations exist. Yes, they're works of fiction, but in a way, they are real to me. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I love doing what I do, which is talking about these topics like superheroes, games, and other media. And I enjoy it. And I hope you guys stick around long enough with me to go through this journey and talk about all these things that I'm talking to you about right now. And once again, Stan Lee, thank you. Hang in there. I hope all is well, and I hope you feel a lot better. If you like this video, guys, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I will see you all in the next comic panel.